This one says Yale Riot. So let's find out what that is.
Needless to say, there were a large group of people, and there was conflict between the police and the students. They all agreed that the tactics of the police had not been the best that could have been used in this situation. Did you take part in the riot?
No, I did not.
What happened?
Well, I was standing in front of the Calhoun gates, watching the disturbance in the streets, sort of wondering what was going on, and just about that time, the police, who were gathered in front of the college, ran for the gates, and everyone, including myself, turned around and headed straight back into the college.
What happened then?
Well, I noticed on the ground a young girl, about 12 years old, lying prostrate and rather shaken and trampled on. So I stopped and picked her up and started to help her into the college. And the policeman ran up to my back, myself being last in line by this time, and started raining blows all around. And one of them landed on the girl, on her back. It wasn't an intentional blow, but it did shake her up quite a bit, I'm sure. She was very dazed by this time anyway. So I continued on into the college as hastily as possible. I got in the courtyard and turned around, and a policeman ran up to me and the little girl and raised his club above his head. And I said, "Now wait, just a minute, officer. I have this little girl here, and she's quite shaken up by this whole thing." And he looked at me, and he looked at the little girl, and he sort of grunted and walked off. So I took the girl immediately to the street. And I got outside the gate, and an officer ran up to me and again raised his club. And he said, "What are you doing out here in the street?" And I said, "Officer, I've brought this little girl out here. She was trampled in the rush, and she's hurt." She pulled up her dress above her knee to show the officer that she had a skinned knee, and she was quite dazed. And the officer asked her if she could walk and if she was hurt. She said no, and so he told her to go home, told me to get the heck back in the college, which I did immediately.
Duke University's radio station sent a telegram to Yale saying, "Have seen the news over UPI. Congrats. We'll accept a few transfers from Yale."
And we don't believe it is typical of any of the great universities where the character called Joe College long ago went out of date. Let us trust that everybody concerned learned something, including the obviously impatient New Haven police, who seem also to have been somewhat affected by the March winds.